ready for today because you are on the channel Fun is Here with Alex Davis. Don't worry, I'm not always that loud. That's just most of the time.
Hello? Are you ready to have fun?
I am so excited to chat with you guys today. Today is going to be an awesome topic already. You know what it is, seeing what the title below is. And so this is just something that has definitely been one of those things I've simply noticed throughout my life. The way that I've been treated or not treated, the ways others have been treated or not. And this is just something that needs to be talked about. I don't think it's talked about enough, and the gravity of it. So, what is it? Favoritism. Favoritism. Well, we're definitely experiencing a version of that right now in our 2020 of yumminess. And so I first want to go to scripture and see what scripture says about favoritism before Alex gives any of her words. So in James chapter 2, it says, "But if you show partiality or favoritism, you are committing sin and are convicted by the law as transgressors. For whoever keeps the whole law but fails in one point has become guilty of all of it." So, this is the one piece of scripture that I want to focus on today when it comes to favoritism. Now, favoritism is the same and equal to any other sin, whether it's gluttony, whether it's lying, whether it's gossiping, whether it's adultery, murder. Sin is equal. Oh, Melinda, I know. It's sometimes really hard for me to grasp. And how is this going to be fun? How is this video going to be fun? Well, subscribe, like this video, and you will figure that out. So, how is this good? How is this something that we need to hone in on? And why is this important to even talk about? Well, humans are all created the same. Humans are all created equal. We're all created sinful and in need of a good God that has grace and gives grace to those who know him. Now, when it comes to favoritism, it's easy to do. You know, we usually favor those that look like us, act like us, portray aesthetics, vibes that we mesh well with, or collab, that's a word now, collab well with. That's usually what we go towards. Maybe you're a boss at a certain workplace and you see an employee just simply working hard. And you see them working so hard that you begin to favor them. But what if you are just not seeing the other employees, working just as hard, but in different areas? Possibly it's more behind the scenes. So favoritism is destructive, and it can hurt the heart of those being favored out of making themselves, uplifting themselves too much, or it can hurt those that aren't being favored because they want to be favored. We all want to be favored. We all do. But it's hurtful, as we can now see in our society right now. I remember a time when I was younger, and I talk about this in my first book, Born Quirky, but I had a dance teacher. Her name was Misty, and she was amazing. She taught me all the things. I was obsessed with her and her quirkiness and her spunkiness, and she was just so beautiful. I could not stop watching her perform and dance. It was something she was called to do, is called to do. And honestly, I think she favored me a little bit. I would be put up front in her dance numbers and her dance routines. She put me up front. Guys, I know I was not that good. Like, seriously, I was not that good. I promise. It's just that somehow, for some reason, I was favored. I got to be a part of her story. She actually ended up becoming a believer. She came to know Christ because I invited her to church. I didn't even know that. I didn't even realize that I was the one that invited her. I just thought it had happened, and I got to be a part of her story. Long story short, I experienced that. But then I got to some of the other dance classes. Those teachers didn't favor me. In fact, they put me in the back. They talked down to me and treated me lesser than. Now, I'm not saying what Misty did was right, and I'm not saying that what the other teachers did was wrong, but I'm also saying that neither were probably good for my heart or for the hearts around me. So when it comes to walking in this truth in a day-to-day life, like, what does that look like? How can we be lights for Christ in a world that needs love and light right now? Well, what I'm saying is, how about we read that scripture one more time? If you really fulfill the royal law according to the scripture, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. You are doing well. But if you show partiality, you are committing sin and are convicted by the law as transgressors. For whoever keeps the whole law but fails in one point has become guilty of all of it. I also just added that very tidbit to the very front. Love your neighbor as yourself. Did you notice that? Did you catch that? Loving your neighbor as yourself. How are you loving yourself, friend? How are you loving yourself? Are you loving yourself? You can't love others until you love yourself. How do you love yourself? You find a love for Jesus. You let him search you. You let him change you. You become the woman or man of God that you are by imitating him, not becoming a better version of yourself. That's how we can stop favoring other humans for whatever desires we might be having. Now, I mean, if you're married, you can have a favorite husband or a favorite wife, like, whatever, that's fine. But, like, come on, don't pick a favorite vegetable. That's mean. They have feelings too. You know what I'm saying, guys? Hopefully, this is something that you can think on, hone in on, and really ask yourself, how am I living this out today? How can I treat others equally? How can I love others as the Lord loves me? And how can I love myself more? I know I need to love myself more. A lot right now. A lot. This girl needs to find some love for who she is. I hope this encourages your heart. I also would love to stay connected with you. So if you see the links below, you'll see my Instagram handle. You'll see the first book that I wrote, Born Quirky. You'll see my recently published devotional called Born Running. It's a devotional for women. It's all about 40 days of running free into God. And just poetry, real life stories, fun stuff. It's a really cool thing, and I hope you might like it if you're a lady friend and you love to run. If not, shoot it to someone who's a lady friend that loves to run. And then my Patreon is also down there as well. If you want to subscribe to weekly devotionals and also get monthly, reflections. I almost said renewals. Reflections of what's going on in the life around Alex and what God is stinking doing. So thanks for joining this fun few minutes of just reflection on, what God can do in our hearts once we give him full release, to let us have all the fun. Because when we give him the full release of our hearts, we can have so much stinking fun and more freedom to do it. So let's do it. Let's stop favoring people and just love them and love ourselves the way that God created us to love. Because we were designed to have fun. Fun is here.